All right. Long time no see in the best ball streets, but we are back. 2026 drafting is finally here upon us for the 2026-2027 football season. If y'all are new here, make sure y'all smash that like button. And yeah, we're entering a pretty big contest for the first little bit of these back. Did not enter any of these last year, but I want to try to do these again this year. So uh, something new, something to do. You know how it goes. We need two more. So if y'all want to hop in, make sure y'all hop in. But in the meantime, we are going to be playing the countdown here to get going. So yeah, here we go. All right. So we should be getting close to filled here. We are in the bigger board contest over on Underdog. While we're waiting on this to fill, we need two more people. So if y'all want to hop in, make sure y'all hop in. Like I said, if you're new here, make sure y'all subscribe, like the video. Would be greatly appreciated. You can see I didn't do any basketball. Didn't really want to. Not really a big basketball guy. The first one that I did, we can view the full board here, and I'll kind of show it off here. This is the first bigger board that I did. I had the 105. We ended up with a 3-5-10-2 build, and we went JSN up top, and then we took four straight running backs in Omarion Hampton, Ken Walker, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. This is kind of looking like a pretty good pairing at this point, though. Hampton and Walker, people are pushing Hampton up. The Sharps are seeming to push Hampton up quite a bit. So I feel like getting him at a good discount here was pretty solid. Ken Walker, I think after his Super Bowl performance, might actually go ahead of these guys at this point. He might even be a second-round pick for all I know. Could be getting closer to these guys. We'll see. Travion, like I said, I think he has a ton of upside. He's kind of the last running back I like in this little tier here. Javante's a guy that I will take. I just didn't think he fit this team. Judkins, very solid pick here. This guy goes Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I debated Lamar Jackson here at this pick. I would have rather taken Judkins because he's the last running back on the board. And as you can see, I didn't take a running back again until the very last pick in the draft. So I think I did the right thing because the quarterbacks I ended up getting, Jackson Dart, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones, I like those guys quite a bit going into next year. Especially Jackson Dart. I think he's got a lot of upside. Can get it done with his legs and is a pretty good performer overall. So I like Jackson Dart quite a bit. Harold Fannin has the tight end here. David Njoku news coming out today that he is going to test free agency. So might drive Fannin's price up a little bit in these rooms. Sorry, had to get a drink. Let's see. Darnold. I think Darnold's going to be one of those guys that's just a good, efficient passer, man. I mean, he can be a decent little floor, has some upside. Same with Daniel Jones. I think those guys are pretty decent upside plays to where you can maybe, see a little stack action with Darnold and JSN. Jackson Dart, we did take naked. I didn't take any Giants with him. And Daniel Jones, we paired up with Josh Downs. So We'll see what happens here. I know. I don't know if Alec Pierce will be back or not. We don't know that for certain. But, looking at other teams here, just the starts of other teams, Genty Bowers, I don't really love that just because you're betting on the Raiders offense that just isn't very good. A team that I really like is this Chad Candles, the guy who drafted right next to me pretty much. I really like his team because his tight end one is Travis Kelce. He has an upside swing and likely, and then Freiermuth is just kind of a boring third tight end, but he is a third tight end nonetheless. These four tight end guys, I don't really understand their point. I also like IUBBX. I don't know how to say all of his name. I also like his team quite a bit with Puka, Jacobs, Brees, Igbuka, Luther Burden. Two of the guys in the second year, Caleb Williams, Tyler Warren, DJ Moore, Denzel Boston. I'm not a big Denzel Boston guy, but I can see the upside. Woody Marks, Golden, Stroud. And yeah, that's a pretty good team. If y'all want to look into more of that board, we can. I just wanted to check and make sure that we were good on the big board or the bigger board. But yeah, we can go back into this and start looking a little bit more here. But Woody Marks, not my favorite pick. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's an intriguing pick at 147. I think it's priced right for the risk that you're taking. I think Kelsey's extremely mispriced. Excuse me. I think Kelsey's extremely mispriced because this at 165 was even a reach. I was hoping to get Kelsey at the 173 or mark. I was debating him at Daniel Jones' spot, but I was like, I want to get a third quarterback. Penix, I think, is a great value at 174 now, just because he's going to start, and they're dropping Kirk Cousins. So I think Kirk Cousins could be a play where you want to draft. I will say this is a very unique, but a very big upside swing in Chambliss to get drafted. I don't think he's going to get drafted. I don't think he's going to get picked. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think he's going to start for an NFL team. But in the event that he does, he has rushing upside. So that's something to note there. And I'm just kind of looking at these. This guy took 3 tight ends in the last 3 rounds. Evan Ingram, Chig Okonkwo, Ben Sinnott. I don't love doing that myself. Bo Nix, Tyler Shutt, Cam Ward. The quarterbacks are fine. It's just I don't really love how his team turned out. I don't really like the 101 this year and how it turns out because I don't get a lot of the guys I really want to get. So I've done a few of those now, and really, obviously, Bijan's a guy you want to get. You're hoping that you really want to have 5 through 9, I think, this year is kind of like where I've liked the most of my teams. Either 5, like the 5th pick here. I don't want 6. I don't want 7. 8, 9, and 10 are like the 3 spots other than 5 that I want, it seems, this year. And it's because you can get one of these elite receiver ones, or you can get H.N., which Genty went early. So to be fair, I'd say, you get one of these elite receivers and H.N., one of those guys. You might have a chance at McCaffrey falling to you. And then on the flip side, you can maybe get Jefferson or Bowers or Big Bride, maybe if you're lucky, somebody like that. And I think that's a better draft, so to speak, starting wise than kind of what you get at the beginning here. Because at pick 5, you can make it work. Like, I got real lucky and got Hampton. So, like, pick 5, you get one of the studs at JSN, and you get Amarion Hampton out of Fowler, and you take Kenneth Walker to follow it up. Like, I kind of like it. It's not bad. Quentin Johnston as my receiver, 2? It's not great. Your rest of your receivers aren't great, but I feel like they have a lot of upside value to be had here. So, for example, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was a guy who showed some flash, some promise, and now we're looking at a guy who's getting extremely undervalued because, in my opinion, his coach just said, "Hey, he's going to be on defense more this year." Didn't they say that last year too? Honestly, I'm pretty sure they did. So it's kind of hard for me to sit here and say, yay or nay to Travis Hunter. Josh Downs is a guy who had a lot of upside coming into last year, fell off a little bit. Pittman should be back, I believe. Alec Pierce is the guy that's kind of in question, whether he comes back or not. And honestly, I don't know that he does. I think somebody outpays the Colts. We'll see. But I think that the Colts should not pay him a ton like he's probably going to have to get. He's probably going to get. So I think it's a smart move for the Colts to pass. Adonai Mitchell, there's room for him to grow. If a quarterback gets there, that's decent. And he's the number 2 option in the Jets offense. I think it's not a bad fit, especially for his price. I think there's potential there to outperform this price. Keon Coleman is just one of those guys that I'm going to be the idiot that doesn't give up on this year, especially at this price in the 17th round, 16th round. I think he's too good to be this cheap. I don't really know if the Bills bring in a receiver, and if they do, how much better is he than Keon Coleman? I don't know. I don't think his value is totally dead, but I think he's got some potential. Devon Vele, another guy with a lot of potential, was really good in Denver. as a Broncos fan, I've kind of watched this guy quite a bit. And I feel like in New Orleans, he's actually going to get an opportunity to thrive and be a guy that can actually do something on the field. And he never really got that opportunity in Denver because Sutton is the guy, and Sutton kind of plays a similar role. So it was tough for him to get on the field. Omar Cooper, that is a guy who I really like coming out of college. If you play Devy or you play Dynasty, you should know the name Omar Cooper at this point. He's, in my opinion, he's just as good as Surratt, and Surratt's getting valued at a first-round evaluation in rookie drafts. Omar Cooper is getting valued at like a mid-second, late second. And honestly, I think he's worth a little more than that. I think he's a lot closer to Surratt than people are giving him credit for. Is he as good as a possession catcher? No, but he is I would say he's he's faster. He's more athletic. I do like that in receivers that have the athleticism. Obviously, Surratt's size is a lot better, but I think Omar Cooper has enough athleticism to make it work. We only need 2 more people to get this bigger board going. Hopefully we can get it going tonight. That's kind of the hope. I really don't want to do 2 drafts at once. That's just not really what I want to do. So I'm trying to kind of break down the other team. I'm hoping we can get 2 more. 2 more is not that many. So maybe I can put in my Discords here and see if maybe I can get 2 more, but maybe not. Let me put in the Deposit Kingdom Discord and see if anybody wants to. And then I said for the stream. Okay. Maybe somebody will join, we'll see. But anywho, like I said, 2 more people. We'll see. We can go through my exposures real quick. I'll show you guys those real quick. So far I am 33 teams deep. Rashad Bateman's my most drafted with Travis Kelce, Devon Vele. I've already kind of touched on all 3 of these or 2 of these guys. Rashad Bateman, I think he's an extreme good value for the last round. No more Hopkins. Zay Flowers is kind of the only guaranteed guy back. He had a great season last season with Lamar, kind of having an MVP year. I fully anticipate better coaching staff. I fully anticipate Lamar to have a better season than he did last year. And I think Rashad Bateman is simply put just a slept-on commodity. Mark Andrews really didn't show a whole lot of life last season. I think Rashad Bateman's a great play if you want to have the upside. I get the health concerns. I get it. Trust me. But on the other side of that, I think a lot of that is, the situation just wasn't good. So I think Rashad Bateman gets a lot better this year. Travis Kelce, this one's a little bit self-explanatory, I think, but round 16, 17 for a top 5 producer at the position for the last God knows how many years. Does he continue? If he plays, I think he's a top 6 or 7, maybe even 8 tight end. If he continues to play. And if he does continue to play, we're going to see this price jump way up. So I'm getting all my Travis Kelce shares now that I can get because his price is way too cheap. Devon Vele, kind of already talked about him. Jacoby Myers, I'm very bought in on this Jacksonville offense. You'll notice that I have Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter, and Jacoby Myers, and my most owned quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. So I'm very, 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 very bought in to the Jacksonville offense being good next year. They showed quite a bit down the stretch this season. And I think that this team has a lot of potential to get together this offseason and really figure some things out and make a run next year. Trevor Lawrence is shown a substantial leap of growth this year. And I don't think that's nothing to slouch at. I think there's a lot of good things that Trevor Lawrence can take away from this season as he's finally had a coach to be able to develop and get his playmakers open. And he's got plenty of playmakers now. I mean, we're talking about a guy who has unlimited weapons at his disposal now. Jacoby Myers is a great receiver in the NFL. He's a proven commodity. Travis Hunter has shown a lot of upside. Brian Thomas Jr., another guy who's shown upside in this league. Parker Washington, another weapon that's been really good. And Brenton Strange, if Brenton Strange can stay on the field, Brenton Strange is another very, very solid weapon. Just a lot of weapons for Trevor Lawrence to be able to throw the ball to, and if everybody can stay healthy on that team, that team is a very dangerous team. So that's kind of why my exposures to them are so high. Jonah Coleman, Trey Benson, Tyler Algier. Those are probably my 3 favorite guys to get lead back roles that I feel good about. Jonah Coleman, rookie, we don't really know a whole lot of other than his profile out of college, which he's not this uber athletic guy, but he is a do-it-all kind of take over the offense kind of guy. Workhorse role. Played well in college. Definitely played well. Slouched off a little bit this year, which is fine. Still had good numbers overall. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but very solid player coming out of college. I don't think you can sleep on this guy. I think he's really good. He's my most drafted running back. I think his price is a little too cheap. I like him better than Jadarian Price. It's not by much, but I think his price is just cheaper, and that's why I click him a little bit more. So that's why. Trey Benson, that he's probably going to be the lead back for Arizona, if I had to guess. I could see a lot of Monty Gibbs kind of Walmart version of Monty Gibbs, and Trey Benson being the Gibbs role, and James Conner being the Monty role. I don't really see a whole lot else going with this team. Tyler Algier, we'll see. I think he could end up with Denver, and that's one of the main reasons I like to draft him so much is because I think he could end up in Denver. Same with Breece Hall. I think those guys are very prime candidates to end up in Denver or Kansas City or just a better situation in general. So I think shooting for the upside there is something that I like to do and want to continue to do as we go along here in draft season. Still need 2 people. So like I said, if anybody wants to hop in, be my guest. Going back to exposures, though. Zay Flowers, again, I'm buying this Baltimore offense. Lamar Jackson at 15%, that's probably a little shy for what I think I should have. I think that this Baltimore team gets heavily improved. They needed to change it up. I think this is a good shakeup for them. I think it's very promising that they finally, committed to a shakeup. I think that's a huge sign for the franchise that has had the same head coach for so many years, and they've had a lot of success, but I haven't been able to get over the hump. And I think this is a big step forward for a franchise that has a lot of talent in it. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, at the end of the day, I still really, really, really like this offense. So George Kittle, clean tear. Expected to be an expedited return. You never know with Achilles injuries, especially. We'll see. But, open training camp on the reserve, but he suggested that he's not closing the door on being ready for week 1. I don't think they rush him back. I think they should wait. I think they should give him the 4 weeks to start. We'll see. But if he does play week 1, that's even better for me because I still think, these 2 guys are extremely mispriced for what they are. Breece Hall, again, I kind of already touched on that. Brian Thomas already touched on that. Javonte, I like Javonte. I think he's great. I think he's going to be good on the Cowboys again. I do think he's going to get re-signed. However, I think he's a little bit expensive for what I like, but I do think his price goes up a little bit more, even if he does sign with Cowboys. So that's kind of, playing out that situation. Tank's one of my favorite cuffs. I'm running out of things to talk about, unfortunately, in my portfolio, which sucks because I really, really, really wanted to get this draft started by now because it was filling pretty quickly before I got on. So we can go to my least owned guys. I have taken some flyers on Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers and Kyle Williams, Ramondre. I'm not clicking Ramondre at his current price. I think it's way too expensive. I'm not really clicking Taylor a whole lot either. I just think those guys are way too expensive for what they are. Emeka Egbuka, not really a big Emeka Egbuka fan. Devontae Adams, again, not a huge fan. These are a lot of the guys I'm just not really clicking a whole lot because I think they're just too expensive. Tetaroa, I think Tetaroa is good, but I don't know that I see him making a big step forward. Fannin, I wish I had more of, and Loveland, I wish I had more of. Again, I'd rather take McBride or Bowers, but at this point, with Kelsey and Kittle being this cheap, I'd rather take those two and pair them up with McBride or Bowers, or I'd rather take those two as my tight end one and get two more at the end of the draft. So it's more so a strategy thing that I haven't clicked those guys because I think, the other tight ends got to get more expensive at some point. So I think now's the best time to be getting those Kelseys of the world and Kittles of the world and Njokus of the world, Hawkinsons of the world. I think those guys are just all way too cheap for my liking. So that's kind of why I've just been waiting on tight end quite a bit, or just taking the elite guy and then smacking one of them towards the end of the draft because that's where they go. So 2 more. Just 2 more, man. 2 freaking more. I was really hoping this would start. Man, I really don't want to have to deposit and put in another little bit to start a draft, but, it's kind of looking like it might happen. To where I have to put in like $10 to do a big board or something in the meantime. So let's just watch this. As soon as I do it, it'll probably fill or something. That's why I don't like to do this, because it's like as soon as I do it, it'll probably fill. So that's what really sucks. Is I don't know. You never know when this is gonna fill. So that's the part I don't love about Underdog, but it is what it is. Still at 10. All right, let's get into a big board. See what we got. We'll keep an eye on it on the side here until we're officially, in a room. We are going to flip over to the bigger board once it fills, though. Like I said, we only need 2 more, so. If it comes down to it, we will, like I said, we'll probably have to draft on my phone for the big board to finish this one up, but I would prefer it if this one filled sooner rather than later. That's mainly the reason I got on to stream. So I don't really like doing the big boards. I'm not really a big fan of them. So too many entries into a contest for me. And we get a 101 to start the stream. What a fun time. We're going to put some timestamps in here. 22. We'll say 23 minutes. We're going to put that in the chat so I can add it to the description. YouTube. And I'll put it in the description of the video. So we have it. View channel. Manage videos. We'll go ahead and add it now just so we have it. Live. Description. Draft 1. 23. Hit save. Okay. All right. So we've gotten that updated. Realistically, though, 23 minutes, it's probably more like 23:40, but whatever. There's without a doubt no 101 here, and it's Bijan Robinson in my eyes. New coaching staff coming in. We'll see Penix as the quarterback, so we'll see how that goes. I just think that is their offense, and this is the main guy you're going to want is Bijan. So that's mainly the reason. 9 of 12 now. People are starting to leave. Oh, no. 10 of 12. Okay, it's back to 10. We need 2 more, man. We need 2 more. We need 2 more. Like, come on. All right. Going back to this draft, we see Puka, Jamar. I still think I'd take Jamar over Puka and JSN personally. I do think my Jamar Chase is still my 101. It's close, though. Or not 101, 103. But it's close. I think Jamar, honestly, is my 102. I'd take him over Gibbs, I think, right now. I don't know. It's really close. Those 5 guys are very elite. You could take them in any order, in my opinion. And I think you can make a case for each one to be first, second, third, fourth, fifth. I think you can make a case for all 5 of them. I personally think Bijan has the biggest workload potential, therefore has the most opportunity. But you could say that about Jamar Chase too at the receiver position, because not a lot of receivers get the kind of volume Jamar Chase gets. Because, I mean, in a healthy Jamar Chase season, I think he had 170 targets last season, which is insane. 185, even more than I originally thought. And I mean, as good as Jackson Smith and Jigba was, he had almost 20 more targets. He had 20 more targets, 22 more targets to be exact, more than JSN. So I mean, that alone in itself is kind of incredible, to be honest. I'm really hoping this bigger board fills. I'm kind of waiting on the notification on my phone. I'll kind of watch it on my phone on the side here. If you guys are new, make sure y'all smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be trying to stream quite a bit more of my drafts. I don't really get to stream a whole lot of them because of my work schedule. Got a new job, so a lot of my schedule right now has been very packed with my new job. So it's been hard to stream. But at the very least, we're getting somewhat we're not really getting a whole lot of volume in either, to be honest. We've been so busy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So that's why I might be going for these bigger contests, just to, not necessarily play the volume game this year, but play the quality of drafting this year. See what happens. But I hope everyone's doing well on a Monday. It is a Monday, so I do know there's kind of some stuff that goes with that being on a Monday. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. We see Jeremiah Love off the board. Marion Hampton at pick 19. I think we can go full screen here and kind of do something like this. So glad that I don't have to do this on a PC app anymore, like BlueStacks. Unfortunately, dropped down to 9 of 12. And that's so unfortunate for us because I have a feeling that's going to start something. Bijan Nico is typically something that you'd probably do here. It's probably what I'm going to do here. I'm probably going to just click Nico. I think Nico's a decent click here. Good upside. I do like Rashee Rice quite a bit. However, I do want to click one of these running backs, and I'm going to click Breece Hall just because I like the upside swing of Breece Hall in this range. So we're at 9 of 12 on the bigger board. Need 3 more. Unfortunate. We did need 2. Now I need 3. It's the only thing I hate about these bigger contests too is nobody's like getting it. Nobody gets in them like really quickly at all. So makes it drag out a lot longer. All right. Rashee Rice off the board. T. Higgins' price is way too expensive for me. I'm just not clicking T. Higgins probably ever this year. I don't know how his price is still what it is, but do with that information what you will. I'm not a T. Higgins clicker, so can't really defend the T. Higgins stuff because I am not a fan of T. Higgins. So I will say this is normally what I do is I'll normally put this like right here or right here. So you can't really see who I'm queuing up, but well, I guess you could see it there, but it used to be where I could just click this right here and it would star the person and cover my queue, but that doesn't seem to work anymore. So that's fun. I have to find a new view to do that. We're at 9 of 12 for the bigger board, man. We really need 3 people. So the guy all the way over there at 12 goes Genty, Achan, and Kyron. Does he take a 4th? No way he takes a 4th running back, right? There's not even a 4th running back for him to take. You take Ladd and you call him your receiver 1. I don't mind that because I've done that a few times, but Not really my cup of tea to go 3 running backs there, but I can understand it. McBride, Bowers go 15 and 16. That feels about right for what I would do. There's been some times where I take both of them at the turn and just kind of seeing how those teams played out. I don't think they're bad. They're not that bad of teams, honestly. So they play out to be kind of good, honestly. Garrett Wilson off the board. We see this guy's gone 3 running backs as well. Jonathan Taylor, Marion Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams. See, I don't really see like a difference between his 3 and, the other dude's 3. There's not really a whole lot of difference for me. So it's like the dude at the 12th spot, like why do that when, you could take McBride or Bowers? That's just how I feel. And get a positional advantage at the very least instead of just a similar running back. That's how I feel about that turn. I like to take one of those tight ends. Luther Burden off the board to pick 45. Big Wave Dave up on the clock. Oh, I'm hoping this bigger board starts. This sucks, dude. Anyway. All right, so we get Lamar Jackson here, which is huge. We're going to go ahead and smack Lamar. I wish we had Zay, but we don't. It is what it is. We move. And I'm going to take probably an unpopular opinion here and the really, really boring pick of Devontae Smith. I like Devontae Smith quite a bit. I also like Waddle here. I think both those guys are about equal to me. Drake May is probably going to be a guy I don't really click a whole lot this year. It's too expensive. I'd say his price will probably fall, but I don't know that to be certain. So it's kind of hard for me to click him right now. I think, he's a lot more fairly priced if he's below Jaden and maybe even below Caleb and maybe even below Jalen Hurts. I'm not clicking much Caleb either at this point. So I said either twice. Funny. Anyway, I don't love their prices. I think Lamar's a really good value in the 4th, 5th round, somewhere in there. If you can get him in the 4th or 5th, I think that's a really good value for a guy who's shown that he can be league-changing upside. I think his situation is getting better this year too. So, even with just health alone, I think his situation's better if he's just healthy. I think, I do think that health is a big concern, but I also know what kind of quarterback Lamar Jackson is when he's healthy, and it's a pretty fantasy changing quarterback when he's healthy. So makes it hard not to take a league changer like that in the 4th round. I'm still refreshing on the sidelines here. Still need 3 more to start the bigger board. As you can see, 3 more people. So 3 more people. The running backs just dry up so fast, dude. Like Ramondre at click 68 is just ridiculous to me. Like, I think this year, if you can get like 2 of them up top and just try to get your receivers, I think that's probably the play. Anybody past Judkins to me is kind of rough to like draft. Like Tootin at pick 62 is just ridiculous to me. That is just a horrible, horrible, horrible pick, in my opinion. I'll probably not have a lot of Tootin if that's his price. I mean, once Etienne announces he resigns, Tootin becomes a 140s pick again, 130s. There's no way he's taken before that. Okay. Jordan Tyson off the board. Roma Dunze, Cortland Sutton, Parker Washington at pick 63. Parker Washington's going ridiculously early, too. I just feel like there's a lot of guys that are going ridiculously early in this range that have a lot of room to fall. And there's guys in the pick hundreds and 8 and 90s that I feel like have a lot more potential to rise. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, both off the board. See where this guy goes. There goes Tyler Warren. I don't think Tyler Warren's a bad pick. Michael Wilson over Marv. I'm just never clicking that personally. I'm hoping I get Marv here. Because if I can get Marv, that'd be fire. Marv and like Harold Fannin, that's probably the two I'm going to like sit here and queue up and pray that I get. Because if I can get both of them, that'd be fire. Okay, well, we got both of them, so perfectly executed there. So we get Lamar Jackson, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Nico Collins, Devontae Smith, Marvin Harrison, Harold Fannin. Lovely, 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 lovely draft. Remember how I said you don't get very many good drafts out of the 101? Well, I lied. I lied. This is a pretty good one, in my opinion. Ooh. Still waiting on 3 more in the bigger board. I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. Please join the bigger board because I really want to do that one on stream if I can. The fact that we're at only 3 left. I feel like I'm getting trolled in the Discord right now. Unfortunate news for me. Is what it is. Is what it is. Ooh, did not want that to pop up. My apologies. Why do I feel like I'm getting trolled right now by Nick? I feel like I'm getting trolled. Probably am, honestly. Let's see here. Stephon Diggs. We could play some kind of, some soothing background music, so to speak. Put it in the background here. My apologies. Loud. If it is, I'm actually gonna turn it down because it's pretty loud in my ear. So, okay. Hopefully it's not too bad though. Let me see if it's too loud. Okay, so it's not even playing for y'all. So 1 second. Let me stop this real quick and share tire. There we go. Now let's try. Good enough. Looks like it's at 7 and 12 now, so it looks like we got trolled. 6 of 12. Yeah, it's decreasing and filling. That 5 of 12. Yeah, everybody just left. Ugh. Well, that's unfortunate. Looks like we're going to have to wait for a bigger board and change the title to a big board. Unfortunate. Really unfortunate for us. I really wanted to draft. Anyway. That sucks. That really sucks. Anyway. Let's go ahead and go Jadarian Price. And we'll take a Michael Pittman share. Yeah, we'll go Michael Pittman. Unfortunate for us. Maybe we get it filled by the end of this draft. I doubt it, though. We'll see. Unfortunate, man. It was at 10 of 12 and just couldn't fill it. That's depressing, honestly. It was so close. The peaceful, soothing music, just let it take you away. I need a peaceful, soothing sound after my days at work, man. Desperately. I really wanted to do the bigger board. That's so unfortunate. Because it's cooked. It's most likely cooked. Now we need 7 people. Oh, man. Unless I want to sit in there for an hour, which I really don't want to do. But even then, I don't even think it's going to fill in an hour. Bo Nix off the board. Well, we're back up to 6, and then we went right back down to 5. So, super duper unfortunate, man. Just a rough way to go. Damn it, dude. Sad times, dude. The music reflects the times. Sad, depressing. Really wanted to do a bigger board, man. Really wanted to do another one. Is what it is, I guess. Sometimes there's only so much you can control. This one's out of my control, man. I tried to bring the content. Just ruined my stream, man. I really thought we were gonna get it done. I really thought I was safe to boot up. Oh well, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. Thought it was safe. Next time, I will not be booting up until I know it's safe to boot up. So, I will not be booting up until I am in the lobby. Learn my lesson. 10 to 12 is not enough, unfortunately. Big dog eat little dog in this world. Sadly, the little dogs are outnumbering the big dogs at this point. It is what it is. It is what it is. 5 of 12. Unfortunate times. All right, we are back on the clock here. Let's see who we can maybe scoundrel up here. Mendoza. I might do a little bit of a reach here for CJ just to pair him up with Nico. It's not a big one, but it is one that I'm probably going to have to take nonetheless. We're going to go Brenton Strange. And we are going to get CJ just to kind of flip the board on its head here. there's probably some better picks here on the board. Could have taken Jaden Higgins and really leaned into the Houston, but I like what the direction is here that I took anyway. I like Britton Strange. I like Harold Fannin. I think you could be okay with 2 tight ends in this room, but a third isn't going to hurt. Stroud is not super exciting, but he is a guy who can maybe stay on the field and provide something for us. So provide some spike weeks with Nico Collins, as some might say. I'm really sad because I really wanted to do a bigger board, and it's just not going to happen, man. It's just not going to happen. And if it does, probably will not be tonight. But hey, man, I tried. Can't fault a man for trying. And I am not about to slow draft it either. So on the bright side, this stream is probably going to last close to an hour, so that's at least something where I talked about my portfolio and what it looks like and broke down the first bigger board that I did. So at least I got a little bit of content in here, but it's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate because I really wanted to do a live draft for y'all on the bigger board. Instead, we only got the big board. But sometimes you take it for what it is and keep pushing. Hope everybody had a good Super Bowl, by the way. I was very indifferent about who won the Super Bowl. Just being a Broncos fan and all, it was pretty heartbreaking, to say the least. You can't help but feel the Denver Broncos, if they were healthy, could have won it this year. I mean, it is what it is. Could Bo Nix have won it this year? I think there is a very solid chance. But, we'll never know. And unfortunately, that's the downfall sometimes of sports, is we'll just never know. I think he would have beat the Patriots pretty simply, honestly, simply put. I think the Patriots stood no chance if Bo Nix would have played. But again, it is what it is. The bigger board is now down still. Oh, it's back to 5. Never mind. It is back to 5. It was down to 4 for just 1 second there, and then it went back to 5. So hopefully we can, if we can gain some momentum here and get like 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in, that'd be great. Wish dudes wouldn't have left. Oh, we're back down to 4. Yeah, I'd say it's probably not going to happen tonight. We were so close. We might be able to get Jaden Higgins here at a huge discount, which I would take the Houston double if we get it. Mark Andrews goes off the board. I was really hoping to get an Andrews, and Higgins smacks there, but neither one of them fell. So, in this case, haven't really been drafting a lot of Ayuk. I think we're going to go with a Tyreek Hill click. I like Tyreek Hill a little bit here in this spot. I also think we need a running back if we can get a pretty boring one. I think Alvin K is a pretty decent one that we can still click. That's not the worst, but it's not the best, obviously, either. Maybe he gets a new situation that's a little better than New Orleans, to where he can capitalize on his abilities a little bit more. Yeah, that's kind of what the hope is there. We could have went Kyler and maybe stacked him up with Marv in the event that Kyler stays. I just don't see the need to take a third quarterback, this early, whenever you have a lot more positions that are needed. So I think quarterback can wait a little bit longer. I think we can kick the can down one more to where we get a Penix or Jacoby Brissett or somebody of that nature. I think Kirk Cousins is a very valid pick. Tua is a very valid pick. I do think there's some guys here that are still pretty valid picks on the board at quarterback, so I kind of am okay with kicking the can down the road again. Travis Kelce at pick 147. I'm not shocked to see this price at all starting to rise. I think it's very warranted. I don't think he should be as cheap as he is. I've been saying that for quite some time. I don't think he should be as cheap as he is. I think it's very mispriced, and even 140 feels pretty cheap to me. So almost 150, honestly. So that feels pretty cheap to me. Make sure you are smashing the like and subscribing. That'd be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Would help my content grow. So would greatly appreciate that. God, I was really hoping to do the bigger board, dude. I'm so disheartened. I'm just disheartened because that's the one I really wanted to do on stream. I'll probably get to do it, but it probably won't be tonight. It'll probably have to be another night. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Just have to see. I'm hoping that happens at some point. Trey Tucker. Huge reach on Trey Tucker. Interesting. Not a big Trey Tucker advocate. So seems like a pretty crazy reach for me. But Penix off the board at pick 158. People are kind of reaching on that. That's fine. I mean, there's still, like I said, there's still a couple QBs here that I'd be fine with. Daniel Jones off the board. Malik Willis off the board. Well, there goes two of them right there. So that's super unfortunate for us. But it is what it is. And we move. We are back up to 5 in the bigger board. Again, still living on a prayer here that we can maybe have a quick run out of getting people. So we'll see. Patron Allen off the board. Really like a couple picks here. Tajay Spears. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go Aaron Jones. Again, not a very fun pick, but it's a necessary pick, I feel. And I'm gonna go ahead and take Calvin Ridley. I know a lot of people have given up on Calvin Ridley. I am the idiot that has not given up on Calvin Ridley, just like I am the idiot who hasn't given up on Keon Coleman. So I am going to be the guy who continues to want Calvin Ridley. So yeah, I'm just going to be that guy. I'm living and dying by it. So like Calvin Ridley or Adonai Mitchell, like I don't even know if that's really a conversation for me. Like, it's honestly not to me, but we get a full year of Calvin Ridley. I mean, let's be real. Tennessee's offense is better than what it was. Defense is getting good. I think that's a team that could be, make a playoff spot even potentially this year. I mean, it just depends on their offseason acquisitions, and Cam Ward's steps forward. I think Cam Ward has a good chance to make a pretty big leap forward this year. The offense gets a little better. Defense takes the pressure off the offense, a little bit better. They have one of the better defensive lines, so relieves the pressure a little bit from Cam Ward. lets him play a little freer. I think that's a big thing for Cam Ward that people don't really think about. So it's hard. It's hard to come into the NFL as a rookie and be looked at as the guy. So it's pretty hard, especially on a team that has Chamari DK as their wide receiver 1 most of the season, and Elik Manor. Like, come on, man, those guys are not like the pinnacle of talent there. So it's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough situation. Showed flashes, some really, really, really good flashes. So I think having Calvin Ridley back is going to be a huge help. David Njoku at pick 184. Great pick. That's honestly who I was probably going to look at next round. But I didn't get him this round. I might go Shadur Sanders as a third pick, as a third quarterback here. Maybe. There's not really a lot of options left. I think Shadur has a chance to start all season, so, we'll see. Gotta send a text message real quick. All right. Nick Singleton, in my eyes, is one of the better picks on the board. I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to click Shadur. I'm not a big Shadur guy, but, however, I do think he can provide a little bit of stability, maybe have a little bit of upside here with Harold Fannin. Stack them up together. I think the rest of these clicks should be receiver going on here on, but we'll see. Because I think the value in these last rounds at receiver, there's a lot of it. Vele, again, I don't need to go into detail. Flournoy, Malik Washington, Rashad Bateman, Keenan is even, Jeremy Bernard is one of my guys that I like. Hollywood Brown is another guy. Jalen Naylor, Tez Johnson. There's a lot of value, I feel like, in these last rounds right now that you could click and just, make a case for. It'd say, this guy could be fantasy relevant. And I wouldn't bat an eye, So there's a lot of guys in this area that I really like. So we are back down to 4 of 12 instead of 5 of 12. I think we're not getting that draft tonight, unfortunately. Unless I stay up another couple hours, which even then it's no guarantee, unfortunately. It is what it is, I guess. I mean, there's nothing you can do sometimes. Oh, man. That sucks. We'll finish up this draft and probably call it. So. I don't think you have to draft a tight end. I think, wide receiver, running back, and maybe a tight end if it's a good faller like Kate Otten or something. I think you could draft. But there's really nobody else that I would want at tight end at this point. So a lot of guys I want left at receiver. So we are down to 3 of 12 in the bigger board now. Oh, that sucks. We really had 10 of 12 and couldn't get it started. That's crazy. I really thought 10 of 12 was going to be like the safe play. Like, Wait till it's 10 out of 12 and then boot up. And surely goodness, 2 more people join. But little did I know. Oh well. Jack Bash off the board. Like I said, at this kind of a value, I'm okay taking K-Dot and then calling it at tight end. I think K-Dot actually offers some kind of upside at the position to where he could score some weeks. All right, well, Otten goes off. Take Vele. We'll go ahead and take Bateman as a Lamar Jackson pairing. You know, this last round, we'll see what we end up getting to fall to us. I don't really know. You know, I think our receiver room looks pretty good. Our tight end room is pretty solid. A running back room probably needs one more guy. You know, whether that be, I've been liking the last round Pacheco. Jordan James is another guy I like to click. In the event that they don't bring Brian Robinson back, which I think that's a pretty high chance that doesn't happen. I think Brian Robinson finds a starting job or a pretty close to starting job, a little bit more of a committee role next year. Ty Johnson. It's another guy who's put up numbers the last few years. I think you could say Najee Harris is another fun click at running back. So, kind of just showing the board here real quick. If y'all wanted to see it. I know I kind of stop and pause here sometimes, so. Scroll most of the way down here just so you get every single round for the most part. Go ahead and just camp it out. Ooh. Jalen Naylor, Ben Sinnott. I think at some point we just got to give up on Ben Sinnott being good. Like at some point. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like those guys that were once good, I could at least point to, you know, there's a reason to believe that maybe they could be good one more time. But the guys that have never been good after 3 years, it's pretty tough for me to point to a reason why, you know, they should be drafted. I get it, 20th round swing, but I don't know. I feel like there's guys with more upside to swing for than Ben Sinnott, personally. Isaiah Bond. That's certainly an interesting one. Mac Hollins. Oh, brother. Let's go ahead and get in here and look. Probably just going to go Pacheco. Who's the other guy I got queued up? Ty Johnson. Yeah, I'll go Pacheco. We'll see what happens. So that's the team. 3-7-8-2. Got Lamar, Stroud, Shadur, Bijan, Brees, Jadarian Price, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Nick Singleton, Isaiah Pacheco, Nico Collins, Devontae Smith, Marvin Harrison, Michael Pittman, Tyreek Hill, Calvin Ridley, Devon Vele, Rashad Bateman, Harold Fannin, and Brenton Strange rounding it out. As I said before, if you guys are new here, make sure y'all smack the like button. Hope y'all enjoyed the draft and the portfolio review. Hopefully we can get a bigger board soon. Maybe tomorrow or the next day. But anyway, I will catch you all in the next one. Until next time, peace.